Hello, everybody. This is Vincent here, and what you're about to hear is the first 6 minutes or so of a screenplay I've been writing for a couple months on and off called Enjoy the Sunset. It's definitely still in its rough stages, and it's still super early in the writing process, but I wanted to give you all a little bit of a sample of what I've kind of been working on. I use this random AI text-to-speech software, and it kind of sounds like crap, and it says the words kind of weird. Like, for example, it says intercut in scene 1 out loud, so just ignore that. But anyways, there was at least 30 minutes of it, but my trial for it ran out after like 2 pages, so this is 1/10 of what I have so far. So if you guys like it, just let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely try to work on it some more. So without any further ado, here's the first 6 minutes of Enjoy the Sunset.
Bedroom, morning. A boy's feet are hanging off of a messy bed with wrinkled bed sheets barely covering his legs. There is barely any light coming through the window from the early morning sky. The sound of an alarm clock can be heard in the background, just loud enough to hear over the already playing music. The view pans up the boy's sleeping body from his feet until it reaches his chest. He reaches for his phone. 6:30 is the time shown. He turns off the alarm on his phone, visibly a bit disoriented. He then slowly sits up on the edge of the bed. Boy. Sigh. He begins to slowly stand up from the edge of his bed, one large wrinkled blanket covering his body. He stands there for a small moment, almost as if he is still not fully awake. He begins to walk towards the window, his feet stepping over piles of half-eaten chips, and wrinkled up clothing in the process. Wide-angle shot of the room. After finally reaching the window, he drops the blanket that was covering him up until now in order to quickly open the window with both of his hands in a fast swiping outward motion. Yawns with arms stretched out wide and opening the curtains. Multiple still shots show the surrounding outside area. The sun is just barely beginning to rise in the far distance. You cannot see it yet, but a glow begins to radiate the horizon line. The trees are tall and still, and the air is calm. Birds can be heard chirping in the distance and flying across the ocean blue morning sky, and a couple of cars can be heard and seen driving down the quiet neighborhood street. Finally, we can see the window of the house the boy is in. A medium-height boy with a slender yet aesthetic build stands there in his underwear, facing the outside world head-on. 2. Cut to, int, bedroom, moments later. A little more awake now after taking in some light, the boy begins to scavenge his filthy room for an outfit to wear. He stumbles around the room, immediately tripping the moment he takes a step away from the window. Boy does not yell or say anything out loud, aside from a small gasp. Falls. He slowly gets up and continues his search for clothes. His eyes immediately lock onto a pair of questionably clean jeans on the opposite side of the bed. He walks to the jeans and picks them up, quickly giving them a smell test. He shrugs and proceeds to put them on. He slips them on, foot by foot, up his behind, and gives a shimmy as they go on his waist. He looks around the room in search of his next piece of clothing. He kneels down to a pile of wrinkled and bunched up shirts and throws multiple over his shoulder as he searches for one to wear. Finally, he holds up a black t-shirt with a picture of a skeleton smoking a cigarette on the front. He slips it on without thinking twice. Without much trouble, he walks towards a pair of filthy white Reeboks with socks already stuffed inside each one. He puts both shoes on and heads to the bathroom. He enters the bathroom and picks up his toothbrush, lifting it up to his mouth, thinking for a second, and then putting it back down. He then smells both of his armpits and gives a small shrug and heads outside of his room, closing the door behind him on the way out. He rushes down the stairway, leading into a hallway, then the kitchen. A pair of keys and a pair of Ray-Ban aviator sunglasses are sitting on the kitchen table. They are both in focus but are quickly swept away as he walks off with both of them. He walks towards the front door and opens it, walks out of the house, closes the door and locks it. He turns around and begins to walk down the concrete steps leading up to his house and down to the sidewalk. He finally makes it into the street, in which we see a black 2004 Chevy truck parked in front. He walks around it to reach the driver's side door. We finally get to see the face of the boy we had the pleasure of getting ready with as he utters the first lines of the movie. Danny. Shit, it's hot outside. Danny puts on his Ray-Bans and opens the door of the truck, stepping inside and starting it. Panning out from behind. He drives off into the horizon as we see the sun rising and the surrounding area come to life. Int.ixt. Danny's car, moments later. Danny begins to cruise around the small town of Huntsville, TX in his black truck, windows down, sunglasses on, and head bobbing to the music. We begin to see glimpses of the town from the view of the car windows. A wide variety of small antique shops line the streets. Old wooden buildings that look like they have been around for hundreds of years are scattered around. The surrounding area is covered in hills and trees, as we see people walking in and out of shops, down the sidewalks with their dogs, minding their own business. Danny continues to drive carefree, still trapped in the beat of the music, until he realizes that the gas is on E, indicated by the glowing gas can on the dash. Danny, annoyed with a slight chuckle. Aw shit, are you kidding me? Huh, oh well. 4. Danny immediately turns into the nearest gas station.
And yeah, that was basically the first 5 minutes of the opening scene in the movie. I have a lot more that I really wanted to put in here, but oh well. If you guys like it, just let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. It's still pretty early, but I wanted to make this just to show you guys. Okay, bye.